Welcome to episode 9 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. My name, as always in these shows, at least for the time being at this point, is William Fitzpatrick. My Twitter handle at FitzPatrick14. And I'm joined once again by my wonderful co-host, Sal Cusimano.
Hey, everybody.
We want to say thank you so much for tuning in on this the first revival edition of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling that we did last week. We have been really appreciative of all the support that we have gotten from folks on the Cage Side Seats community and from abroad, you know? Independent podcasts like this are something that we are doing right now for fun, and we're really appreciative of any views that we get, even if you disagree with the stuff that we say on air.
Yep.
Like those from the nation of Beckystan who are currently gathering their pitchforks and torches to, well,
do less than pleasant things to us.
Yeah. But anyway, we're here to talk once again about WWE programming. This week, we will be talking the fallout of WWE Payback, or as you see in the title of this video, we're going to talk about the magic of Payback. For Payback is many things, and in the world of professional wrestling, it involves vengeance, revenge, catastrophic destruction of your enemy. And all of those things happened on this particular show. So, Sal, what were your initial thoughts of Payback before you watched the show?
I was looking forward to it. I thought it had a lot of promise. I thought everything, I thought it would be good except for 2 matches, and I was right about those 2 matches.
Oh, coolness. It's honestly, my initial expectations of Payback were low. Again, every pay-per-view that I go into, since I'm a relatively new watcher of pay-per-views, I've only been watching for about the last year and a half or so, because I couldn't afford them, as I mentioned on the last episode of Wacky World of Wrestling, because they were $59.99, and I'm not paying that price for scripted programming.
That's only like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Of course. No one blames you.
So, with the advent of the WWE Network, I've been able to watch these WWE-related pay-per-views. And Payback was a show that I had better expectations for than WrestleMania. Because WrestleMania, in my view, has always been, it's the celebrity show. It's not necessarily for me or for most people, honestly.
Yeah.
The fact that it gets the amount of crowds and attention that it does really does speak to the level of marketing that they've been able to do in the WWE land. For WrestleMania.
Of course, yeah. They got people to sit, and me included, so I won't give anyone flack for this, but they got me to sit 7 straight hours through that thing. Their hype machine is doing something right.
Yeah, they're doing something right there. And, well, Payback had a lot of matches on it that I was really looking forward to. Even the 2 matches that we'll get into that Sal didn't really particularly go well, technically. The House of Horrors match was one, and the other one was Joe versus Rollins, which I had some expectations that Joe would at least carry Rollins to a serviceable match. How wrong we were, but we'll get to that later. First up, we'll talk about... Did you watch the pre-show?
I watched the Miz segment. What happened was I had work until like 6 that day, so I crashed for a little bit before. When I got up, I woke up at like 7:50, saw it was about to start, threw on the Miz promo, which was an awesome promo. I could not be asked to care about Gallows versus Enzo. I couldn't be asked, Fizzy.
Well, yeah, it's Roadkill Hair and his incredibly tall friend versus Team Bald Bros, and I really don't particularly am interested in either of those teams at this point. I mean, I wasn't interested in Gallows and Anderson when they were in New Japan, because primarily I watch New Japan because it's in Japan. I go to watch the Japanese performers.
Yeah. Not to mention they work better as goons.
Yeah.
They're good goons for Finn Balor, AJ Styles, or Kenny Omega. They are not really all that good as their own thing.
I mean, Anderson can cut a good promo here and there, 80s promo, and, Gallows as his alternate character, Tex Ferguson, was amazing in the, what was
Southpaw.
that again?
Southpaw. Oh,
Southpaw Lord. Regional Wrestling, yeah.
Yes. So they can be good. It's just, I don't see it on traditional WWE programming. If this was like 80s Memphis, oh my Lord, Tex Ferguson, good Lord.
He would really, really work in Memphis.
Yes.
And So would Enzo and Cass to a degree, because they would be the villainous Italian guys.
Of course they would. They're always making my people look like damn villains. Come on.
Of course.
Of course. But enough sarcastic outrage.
Mm-hmm. First up was Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho, and I did not have very high expectations of this match, but I was pleasantly surprised by the WrestleMania match. So I thought, okay, let's see if lightning strikes twice in the bottle. Lightning struck twice in the bottle and then struck again for a third time, because this was actually a very good match.
Oh yes, this was my second favorite match on the card. I had this, I want to say it like 3.5, 3 3/4 for stars. If we're gonna give a little star rating thingy out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
It was very good, very fun. Great way to hype up the crowd.
I enjoyed this match because of the psychology involved in the match. Because what they did is that they know Kevin Owens seems to be one of the few performers that understands that Chris Jericho is kind of finished as a physical performer and as good as a psychological performer. So he goes, "Hey, Chris, mind slowing down a little bit?"
Yeah. No, yeah. They did some great psychology with the great throwback moment.
Yes, the finger. Kevin Owens got his finger on the bottom rope to break out of the walls of Jericho. Chris Jericho sees that Kevin Owens has used the Jesus finger to
yes,
try and once again escape out of a submission hold. Chris Jericho goes completely psycho and proceeds to attack his finger and hand.
yes. And for those who don't know, in case, we have some family who's watching who doesn't know wrestling too much or follow the current product, what happened at Mania is Jericho hit the code breaker on Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens got the tip of his finger on the bottom rope, which negates the pinfall attempt. This happened again. Jericho had his submission, the walls of Jericho, on Owens. Owens puts his finger on the ropes, which means Jericho has to break the hold. Jericho sees this, goes apeshit, puts Owens' hand in between the steel steps and the ring post and kicks the steel steps, hurting Owens' hand.
This psychology would play later in the match because one of Owens' finishers is the pop-up powerbomb, and it requires use of your hands to pull it off effectively.
Yep.
Owens' one hand does not work at this point, so he can't pull off the pop-up powerbomb, and Jericho locks in yet another Walls of Jericho submission on Owens. He tries to reach for the ropes again, except he hits the bad hand.
Yep. And again, he can't handle it. He can't claw for the ropes because, holy crap, my hand is freaking hurting. I can't do this. And he once again taps.
But for Chris Jericho, the victory was short-lived. After Payback and on Smackdown, he was in a rematch with Owens for the United States Championship, since both of them are now on the same brand. Well, let's just say that Kevin Owens was not particularly pleased about losing his shiny thing and proceeded to decimate Chris Jericho.
Yes. 2 days was enough to give the hand the rest it needed. And Kevin Owens made Chris Jericho pay.
Yes.
He destroyed the poor man.
Mm-hmm.
He pop-up powerbombed him so hard, got the pin. And it was what happened after the match. He hit another pop-up powerbomb and people were kind of like, wait, that's it? That's all that's going to throw Jericho out? Well, no. He put a chair around Jericho's neck and kicked it into the ring post. Pretty brutal stuff. And now Jericho's touring with Fozzy for a bit. But when he comes back, ooh, that return feud will be fun.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Unlike, say, Styles Jericho, which was a disaster last year, WrestleMania, Owens and Jericho work together incredibly well. And Kevin Owens has also managed to, as we said last week, reinvent his character. Once again, going back to the psycho face of America, family man character that he had.
Man. KO's new shirt is pretty damn awesome. Like, I'm not usually the biggest fan of, like, the American flag on stuff. Mainly, I mean, I'm a proud American, I'll be honest, but even then I find, like all that stuff on T-shirts a little bit gaudy. But the Kevin Owens, like, it's small enough that it doesn't look too bad, and then the logo. I'm actually probably going to get one of those shirts. So,
well, WWE marketing team, you've done your job there.
Yes, you have. And Kevin, Really good job, man. But no, the matches were great. I love the throwback into the stuff Jericho had with Styles, where Styles didn't forgive him.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Certainly, Styles didn't forgive him because, like, again, Styles suddenly realizes that he has to deal with two menaces on his brand now instead of one.
Yes. And we have now officially gone back to the summer of 2015, where the United States Championship is the top belt of a brand, and the WWE Championship means dirt.
At this point, but again, I think, Jinder Mahal certainly doesn't see it as dirt.
No. And I don't blame Jinder for this.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to him later but this isn't exactly the greatest thing.
Yes. We'll wait on that a little bit until a little bit later when we get to our fun House of Horrors segment. But first, Angry Man with Championship Belt.
Yes. King Neville
versus the little guy with the little man's complex, Austin Aries.
And I have to give Things and Stuff credit for this because this was a great line she had. Has an aggressively fuzzy jacket.
Yes.
Not just a fuzzy jacket, an aggressively fuzzy. And it really is.
Yes. If you have never seen his TNA debut jacket, it is the most, it's like he basically saw a 70s, 80s van that had pink shag carpet and decided to wear that as a jacket.
Yes, or it's like you saw the Muppets and their texturing, like Sesame Street, like Elmo. Like he saw Elmo, decided to skin Elmo, color it gray, and then put it on his body.
Oh my God, that is a wonderful visual.
Yes,
Austin Aries pulling the Skinner gimmick. Yes. For those who don't know, Skinner was an alligator hunter gimmick that the World Wrestling Federation had in like 91, 92. He was this hillbilly who spit tobacco. But so basically they had Austin Aries do the Skinner gimmick, skin Elmo, dye it gray, and
yes, and wear it as a jacket.
Oh my God, my mother is gonna love this segment.
Yes, and that is Austin Aries' jacket.
Yes, that is Austin Aries' jacket, and it is ridiculous, but it is so totally professional wrestling. I enjoyed this match. I didn't expect I was going to enjoy this match, but again, lightning struck thrice in a bottle again and exploded the bottle.
Yes. This was a good match. I thought the psychology was really good. I mean, Neville, he's just amazing, Mm-hmm. He can do no wrong. He is the king of the cruiserweights for a reason, and that's because he can make everyone look good. And I do love how the finish again played out. Neville, he was trapped. He was going to tap. But he was smarter than Austin Aries. He pulled the ref. He got himself DQ'd. And he kept his shiny belt.
Of course Neville is smarter than Austin Aries. He decided to basically pull the age-old trick of pulling on the referee's shirt, which apparently offends the referee so badly that it causes a disqualification.
Yes. How dare you touch me? I am the ref.
Do you understand that I just had this shirt dry cleaned?
Yes. Come on, man. I just got all the wrinkles out. Mm-hmm. But no, it was a very, very fun match. Yeah. I think Austin Aries, as much as I dislike him as a character, he is still a very good in-ring wrestler.
Yeah, as much as I dislike Austin Aries the person, I do like the fact that he is a good performer and he's been able to put out solid matches. The Cruiserweight division has actually really done a good job of that lately in the pay-per-view situations where they have really, really good matches.
Yes, they have very fun matches. They also have some pretty fun matches on Raw. It's just the only issue is the crowd can't care about them.
Sure. But again, in due time, people, for whatever reason these days, people really lack a lot of patience. And for me, I'm just enjoying the fact that the Cruiserweights are on Raw. They're not on SmackDown, thank Lord.
I don't know. I think Ward and Road Dogg would give them a better shake.
Sure. But at the same time, I'm not really... They really didn't do very well with the Cruiserweights on NXT, though. So that's one of the few things that was a weakness in Ward's run was his, writing of smaller characters.
Yeah, I do think it would help if they had the agenting a bit better because they don't really let them do a lot of flashy moves that the crowd really pops for. But,
But for
Like,
understandable reasons, because you don't want these cruiserweights ending up like, unfortunately, Kazuyori Shibata, which
oh, oh Lord, I heard. Unless there was a bad translation, I think he's saying he's going to come back, which I don't know how you can come back.
especially when you've had a piece of your skull removed to relieve the internal bleeding.
Yes, dude. I love you, man. You were great. Your comeback has been amazing, or it was amazing. Please don't come back. Think about your damn health. Like, I don't want to see you die. I don't want to see you end up in a quality of life that is not good. Like, don't. Or if you do come back, never do a damn headbutt again. And I mean never.
For those of you who are wondering what the side tangent is, Kazuyori Shibata had a serious head injury after his match with Kazuka Okada due to him hitting Okada with the hardest headbutt I've ever seen anybody do.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is with this is that I think that the problem started when Okada hit a clothesline on Shibata's neck. That's, I think, what started the first impact on the head. The headbutt was just extra.
Well, it doesn't help that Shibata throws shoot headbutts like every damn match. You know, this was only a matter of time.
Yeah, but
Like,
usually Shibata's a little more careful about it than he is. I think he was just in a moment of just legit blind anger because Okada hit his neck with that clothesline a little harder than he intended to.
Yeah.
Because I saw that in his eyes. I'm like, oh, he ain't there right now.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. This whole thing is just, it was going to happen eventually. I think it happened then because he was so mad, but, he kept throwing shoot headbutts. You're not going to be able to get away from it eventually, man. As much as I hate that it happened, I wish it never happened. I wish he could throw shoot headbutts and nothing bad would happen, but if you're going to use your head and shoot headbutt people, you're going to end up with a concussion or subdural hemorrhaging, which is what he got.
Yeah. And I think people who are going to be reviewing the match that Okada had with Bad Luck Fate, I think that people they thought that that the match was not as good as their past encounters. I think Okada's still recovering from the fact that, oh my God, I was in a ring with a man who almost died.
Yeah.
So I could understand if he wanted to play it safe with Bad Luck because he likes the guy.
Yeah, I haven't seen that match, so I can't speak to that, but,
I mean, I haven't seen it either, but, I have been hearing word that people were not particularly pleased about that match, but, okay. I can understand if Okada was trying to be safe with Bad Luck, because he's a good dude. He's an ex-rugby player. He's one of the few guys in the Bullet Club I actively like.
Oh, man. Talk about the Bullet Club taking second seat to a loss in Governor Bulls. However you say that.
Yeah. Los Ungogables.
Yeah.
They are taking a rightful back seat to one of the best stables that New Japan has ever had in recent memory. Sorry, Chaos, you're just not that good.
No, you have a cool name though.
And sorry, Suzuki-gun, you have a cool name and you have some at least decent members, but your stable is held back by the anchors known as Yujiro Takahashi and Taichi.
Oh Lord. Wait, isn't Takahashi on Bullet Club?
I know. I think he joined. No, I think he joined Suzuki-gun, or no, I think he is. I don't know anymore. I don't know if he's still a part of Bullet Club or not.
There are too many damn stables with too many damn people. It's hard to keep track of these things.
Speaking of stables, our next match is the Hardy Boys versus Swiss and Limes.
Yes.
Okay, so this match was a lot stiffer than I expected. Speaking of shooting, Sheamus knocked out a tooth of Jeff Hardy's.
Yes. That got, really stiff, really shooty, and oh Lord, we are lucky someone didn't die.
I mean, especially, he did that battering ram on the second rope to, what was it, Matt?
Yeah.
Dropped him like a sack of potatoes.
Yes. Oh yes, no, this match got very uncomfortable at times. It was a good match, it was a fun match at the end of it. I think it helped that the fact, that no one died or got seriously hurt. Jeff's tooth leaving his mouth notwithstanding.
Hmm.
Did he end up getting that
I think he
fixed?
did. He got that fixed.
Okay. He must have called Mrs. Dentist. Good guy, Miz. Probably kind of a discount on it too.
Yep. But like, I've enjoyed this revival run of the Hardys so far, which I'm kind of surprised by because, as I've said before on past speaks and on this last episode, I am not the biggest fan of the Hardys at all. So the fact that they're actually starting to draw me into what their antics that they're doing is a good sign. Although I still cheered Cesaro and Sheamus over them because I like Cesaro and I like Sheamus. I think they're perfect fit for a tag team.
Yes. I do. I have been liking these Hardys too. They've been very good. They've been acting sort of heelish though.
Yeah, they have.
And that's the weird thing about this whole situation. It's that, I don't want to say oh, all baby faces need to be cold, pure white meat, can't do anything bad ever. Nope. But it's weird. It's like they've never really they've been sort of cheating a little bit.
Yeah, they have. I mean, because like Sheamus got upset about the finish, which was because Sheamus thought he had pinned Matt, but Jeff had made a blind tag, and Jeff hit a swanton bomb on him and Matt Hardy at the same time.
Yes, and Sheamus got pinned.
Yeah. Afterwards, the gentleman's sportsmanship basically ended because, well, they shook hands, left the ring, and then the Hardys celebrated, and then Cesaro trips up Jeff Hardy on the top rope, causes him to fall, and Sheamus comes in and kicks Matt Hardy in the face.
Yes. I think Matt Hardy ended up getting a black eye or something from that.
No, he didn't get a black eye. He actually got a bloody forehead.
Oh, that's it. Yep. Yeah, no, like we said, it got pretty brutal.
Yeah. It got really brutal, and I think part of it is because these AE guys want it to be that way, but at the same time, I'm going like, dudes, you're 40.
Yeah, take it easy, guys. I mean, Sheamus is a pretty stiff worker, too, which I think it works for his character and his style, but, and I do think you saw it on Sheamus's face when he knocked Jeff's tooth out. He was like, oh, shit, I effed up.
Yeah, he knew that he had kicked too close to Jeff's face when he did that kick, and well, the part of the problem is Jeff was too close to the corner.
Yeah.
So it was on both parties in this particular instance. Sheamus kicked him too close to his head, and Jeff was too close to the center of the one corner.
Yeah. So you gotta, it wasn't anything too bad, thank goodness, but. Maybe, just for next time, make sure you don't do that spot again, boys.
Or if you're going to do that spot, make sure that Jeff is in the center of the ring instead of on the edge of the ring post like he was.
Yeah. So, that happened. I did really like the turn, like how it was executed, because most of the time they just have him do the handshake and then, they don't let go, kick him in the crotch, and then do something to him.
Yeah. Instead, Cesaro goes completely insane, knocks Hardy off the turnbuckle, and then Sheamus goes in and, as we said before, kicks Matt Hardy in the face.
Yes. It also helped that they left and came back.
Because they're going, well, we just did the sportsmanship thing. I want to kick him in the face.
Yes. Exactly.
That's probably how the conversation went. Sheamus wants to go, I want to kick him in the face.
Yes. And Cesaro's like, let's do it.
Yep.
And it was a good segment. I thought their promo on Raw about how they feel like the Hardys coming back, they stole everything from us. It's like, I could sort of see that. They were like the guys getting cheered, and then the Hardys came back and they got overshadowed.
Yeah, they got overshadowed, and well, I mean, the problem is that Sheamus still doesn't realize that he has a ridiculous mohawk, and Cesaro is Swiss. Okay.
The shield of permanent neutrality.
Yes, the shield of permanent neutrality. Cesaro says he's a heel, but no, dude, you're neutral. You've always been neutral.
I will say the bomber jackets, that is a great look. The bomber jackets and sunglasses for those two.
Yes, the bomber jackets, the sunglasses, and kilts.
Yes. I think it looks good with Sheamus's like red mohawk though. Like that look for him with the beard, the mohawk, the sunglasses, and the bomber jacket and the kilt. Good lord, that is a hell of a look.
It makes him look like a World War II aviation pilot. I wonder if Neville hasn't been giving them ideas backstage.
Seriously, like that's what I'm talking about, man. He looks like a freak, yeah, like a World War II aviation pilot. That is a great look. He
Yeah.
looks like a badass. Sheamus looks like Cesaro looks like a badass. It is great.
Yeah.
It's like, and I love their promo how it's like we don't just set the bar, we are the bar. It's like you guys are going to be okay.
So they think they're a jungle gym now.
Yes, they are.
So yeah, and this is obviously leading the Hardys closer and closer to the whole broken gimmick thing.
Yes, the proverbial breaking point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Matt did try to eat them a couple weeks ago, so
yes, and he said he will eat them on Raw. Well, he didn't eat them yet, but you know, it will happen.
Soon we will see the reappearance of Dr. Frankenfurter and his assistant Igor.
Yes, and it will be fun.
Well, at least for Sal, I'm not sure for me, because like I said, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the broken gimmick, but if any company can make this work for me, it's WWE. Because TNA Insanity is just general TNA Insanity. It's not really anything that stands apart from the usual insanity that happens.
Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, the Broken Matt Hardy stuff, that is one of the more saner things TNA has ever done.
Mm-hmm.
They employed Scott Steiner, who went on rambling shoots. Mm-hmm. That is pure insanity, and it also makes my heart happy.
They employed the alpha male Monty Brown, who is also great at doing insanity promos in the mid-2000s.
He also makes my heart happy.
Yeah. So you have this tag scene division is actually very interesting right now, because you have the Hardys, you have Roadkill Hair and his incredibly tall friend in the fringe of the tag team division. You have Team Bald Bros, who might become goons again. Who knows what they'll do with Vinnie McRogue.
Yep. You have the Revival whenever they get healthy.
Oh, they're going to get back, and they're going to be really, really upset that everybody else is doing all this healing without them.
Yes.
Oh, God. Cesaro and Sheamus are going to be in for the most unpleasant surprise when those two come back.
Yes. Oh, Lord, yes.
I think that their heel turn is actually going to be a fairly short one, because the Revival coming back and Dawson's going to be like, Dash, they're stealing our gimmick. Let's break him legs.
Yes. They really don't have, they really only have Enzo and Cass as face and the Hardys as face teams right now, you know?
Yeah.
And they have at least 3 heel teams. I'm trying to think, who's the other team on Raw?
I think it might be Slater and Rhino.
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, there's them.
Slater and Rhino, and I think technically the Golden Truth is still on Raw, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. The Golden Truth. How could I ever forget those stalwarts of Monday Night Raw?
Mm-hmm. They've been there a very long time, not just in tag teams, but in the company.
Yes. Oh, Lord. Yes. Oh, God. How could I forget them? Mm-hmm. I am ashamed that I forgot Slater and Rhino, though. He needs kids. He's got kids. He needs this job.
Yes, he needs those tag team belts, and Rhino needs some replacement cheese and crackers after Maurice knocked his plate down.
That was the heelest thing Maurice has ever done, and it was glorious. And I loved Rhino's look at her.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't present saltine crackers and cheese that isn't low fat, okay, to the muscle.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, but Rhino, he's been great as his tag team partner.
Yeah. I'm just, like I've said before on Speaks, and I'll say it here now, I am so happy that Rhino is in the company again, because, like, I've told this story before, but I saw Rhino work a main event indie match in my hometown in Jamestown, New York, at the community college, and he rolled down 3 rows of bleachers, and I was like, and my mother was freaking out, like, is he okay, Fizzy? I'm like, yeah, Mom, he's fine. He's gone through flaming barbed wire tables before. I'm sure this is just a Monday for him, or Sunday in this case.
Yes, he grew up in Detroit. He's used to this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And then after that, we had a Braun Strowman promo, which was awesome.
Of course it was. It's Braun Strowman. Anything he does is awesome.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure the resident statistician Kane Knight will disagree with that. Probably is setting things on fire as we speak.
Oh, he can disagree with whatever he wants, but it won't change the fact that Braun is the greatest performer on Raw right now.
Sure. And what I loved about this segment was that he basically claims that Roman is a wounded animal and that he's going to be coming in for the kill.
He was right.
Guess which Titantron comes out after the promo?
Pixie Hulk Alexa Bliss.
The monster.
Yes. Now, for those of you who maybe missed last week or who didn't really know what we were talking about, Alexa Bliss is 5 feet tall. But do not give her crap for that because she is a diminutive dynamo who will end you. She is all of the rage and anger incarnated of a 7 foot tall demigod, at least. No,
she has
she's
proclaimed himself a demigod. Continue.
Yes. No, not just a demigod. She has proclaimed herself the goddess. She is not just a mere queen like all the other women claim to be. No, she is a goddess who will end you. She is wrath incarnate. Mm-hmm. Her facial expressions, her presence, everything about her is amazing. You have someone like Nia Jax, who is like at least 6'3", I'm pretty sure, something like that, who is a very lovely lady, and I don't want to speak ill of her because, again, if you ever see her on Twitter, she's a very, very positive role model for people. She's a very good lady. She does not have half the presence that Alexa Bliss does, and she is literally twice her size.
Yes.
And I don't say that in any shaming way. I want to make that very, very clear. I'm like 6 foot, 250 pounds. I have no right to throw stones at people. And that 250 pounds, it ain't muscle. So, I won't give her any crap for, being a larger lady. That is not what I'm about. So,
Yeah, basically, when it comes to Nia Jax, is that she's a very nice lady. It's just she's nice. And she doesn't know how to transition that niceness into viciousness,
Yes.
She's basically that sweet auntie that goes, come to auntie, give me hugs and bitches, let me pinch your cheeks.
Yes. She is such a good person, She really is. And, I feel like that's why I honestly kind of wish she could be like that monster that they want her to be, because I think if she could, she'd be good at it.
But the thing is that story time, folks. This monster, we're talking Alexa Bliss here, was a monster that our former Raw Women's Champion, Bayley, inadvertently created down in NXT. For you see, when Alexa was just a happy, cheerleading fairy girl, she had a feud with one of Bayley's friends, Carmella. Carmella proceeded to slap Alexa Bliss in the face. Did Bayley do anything about Carmella's behavior? Did she scold her? Did she support Alexa Bliss during her time of need? No. Alexa Bliss has been constantly bullied and belittled by Bayley's so-called friends. She's had her arm ripped off by Sasha Banks. She's also had her arm ripped off by Becky Lynch. She's been repeatedly beaten by Charlotte during her time in NXT. And the anger and rage grew and grew, and no one realized just what kind of monster was underneath that pretty, happy, smiling face.
Yes. Well, in hindsight, we all should have known because she's from Columbus, the literal worst city ever. Come at me, Buckeyes fans, you hopeless, hapless people. And Rex, before you say 12 of 13 or whatever, I know. God, I know, and it eats me up inside every day of every year.
So I forgot you're from Michigan and the whole Michigan-Ohio State thing. So
yes, oh Lord, yes. Honestly, okay, a little bit of a story time. I went to NXT Detroit. When was it? Like 2 years ago now. Fun show, real fun show. Alexa Bliss was the most hated person there. And all that had to happen was that she had to be introduced from Columbus. That was all it took.
And this was during her fairy gimmick, right?
No, right after that. She was with Buddy and
Oh, this was during her heel turn where she was with
yeah,
Goon 1 and Goon 2.
yes. Yes. So, it was fun. But back to the match.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss beat Bayley for the belt. Is pretty much
Yes.
all I can say. In a pretty good match.
Mhm.
I will say, for as much good character work Alexa does, she isn't the best in ring. And
Sure.
she needs to work on getting in place better
Mhm.
and to be set up in for moves to take from Bayley. Bayley really helped carry her to a really good, like, 3.5-star match. You know,
Mhm.
I kind of feel like if you combined all the strengths of Bayley and all the strengths of Alexa, you would have the perfect women's wrestler.
Mhm. Sure. I
But
mean, I thought that the match was good. I mean, I did see some of the missed spots. I did see that. I thought it was it very much reminded me of a classic 1980s WWF match with the colors. And although there was one thing from the 90s that came out, Bailey's jacket.
oh Lord, that jacket!
I mean, if she's trying to pull off the Stone Cold Hug Austin look, okay, props to her. But that jacket is straight out of Techno Team 2000, and she decided to bedazzle it with her logo.
Yes,
For those who don't know, Techno Team 2000 was a legendarily awful tag team from the WWF days in the mid 1990s.
yes. And if you know anything about wrestling, the mid-90s for the WWF, they were bad times.
Bad times for most, but I love the mid 90s era.
I will say, like, I like them ironically because I mean, the Goon, Skinner, stuff like that. You
Mhm,
know, they're so bad they're funny.
mhm.
But yeah, but back to the match. Alexa won, and then the next night on Raw, she ethered Bayley. Oh, but before we get into that, Bayley's lost the belt in her hometown. She
Yeah,
had all of her family watching, including two cute little nephews that Alexa Bliss proceeded to ether along with Bayley the next night. And it was beautiful.
and this is a little bit underselling it. She's standing on a podium.
Yes, proclaiming herself a goddess and telling Bayley that she saw her nephews crying and said, "It's okay." She said, "Oh no," she said, "What would Bayley do?" She'd look on the bright side of things. Here's what your nephews can do. Look on the bright side of things. Now they have a real women's champ they can be proud of. My lord.
Yeah.
The amount of heelishness, the amount of evil in Alexa Bliss,
I mean,
gorgeous.
here's the thing. What she basically did was a Romanian style vengeance upon Bailey. Because to continue our little story, Bailey did not help Alexa Bliss at all during her struggles against the diabolical evil that is the Four Horsewomen. So when Carmella, who's basically the X-Pac of the team of the Four Horsewomen, ended up slapping Alexa, Alexa got mad, and Alexa became a learning monster. She proceeded to do some of the best Rick Rude-inspired squashes, including destroying Tessa Blanchard and kicking Leva Bates off NXT.
Yes.
For those who don't know, was named Blue Pants because they couldn't think of a better name.
Yes.
And so Alexa became this learning monster. She lost to Bayley the first time down in NXT, but she learned from the experience. She went to SmackDown, destroyed everyone there as a miniature Mark Henry.
Yes. Became a 2-time SmackDown Women's Champ.
And then, in a brightness and wisdom, Kurt Angle decided to bring Alexa Bliss over to Raw in the Superstar Shakeup and traded Charlotte and Tamina Snuka to SmackDown in
For Mickey
exchange for
James.
Bliss and Mickey James.
Yes. And what was glorious for a few reasons. One, you have the Bayley revenge story. And two, you will see Alexa and Sasha, who don't like each other very much in real life, and who will shoot on each other and try to murder each other.
Mm-hmm. And Alicia Fox also joined in on the murdering this week.
Of course they did. So, that was a fun match.
Yeah.
And when she got there, she finished her revenge plot
Yes.
in
Hey,
Bailey's hometown.
yes. What a glorious dream scenario, almost like out of a fantasy book. And although Alexa has been doing Disney references for the longest time, her character really is more inspired by the character of Pippi Longstocking. For those of you who don't know what Pippi Longstocking is, please go to your local library and rent that book because it is actually really, really good.
Yes. Either that or the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah.
the also the Swedish the films that are done that were done also in the 70s and 80s are also really good. The character of Pippi Longstocking is of a character that is as strong as just this little girl who can lift an ox with one hand.
Mm-hmm.
So she's as strong and free-willed and free-spirited. So basically, Alexa is the evil version of Pippi Longstocking. Still
Yes.
with those same virtues, but using her vicious, brutal strength and conniving tactics against those who have wronged her. And in all honesty, Bailey has wronged her. She wasn't what I would call a proper champion in an NXT. All of the virtues that she sang and cheered about, she didn't display with Alexa Bliss, who was still a face at that time. Instead, she was friends with Carmella, who we all know how that turned out. She's friends with Sasha Banks, who may be manipulating her. We don't know yet.
Yep.
She's friends with Charlotte Flair.
The literal worst person on earth.
And she's also friends with Becky Lynch.
You didn't turn, Andrew.
Yes, who did not turn this past week on SmackDown, although honestly, why would you turn when your crew is made up of Tamina Snuka, who's good but not great? Natalia, who's apparently becoming a cat girl.
Yes. Wait,
a
what do you
literal
mean?
Cat girl.
Oh, literally, I was going to be like, becoming? What the hell do you mean becoming? She's been a crazy cat lady. That has been her entire character for like a year now.
Sure, but she didn't have cat ears before.
Yes. Like, this is getting ridiculous now. And then you have Carmella, whose best thing about her is James Ellsworth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the continued conniving couple that is Carmella and James Ellsworth. Okay, so Becky understandably did not turn heel then. She might turn heel later. Who knows? And,
Another long con theory? Come on, Swift. I appreciate you poking fun at yourself. I mean, really, a lot of respect for that. But, dude, I don't think it's happening. Or if it is, it's going to be Charlotte because, of course, New Women's Order or apparently the Four Horsewomen. Oh my lord, they seriously are going to do that.
Well, technically, those three legacy people are kind of representative of the Four Horsewomen of the Apocalypse.
Yes. And the past. I mean, you think about it, you have some talent. Well, talented is subjective and with massive air quotes, but you have some like second generation superstars there.
Mm-hmm.
They really are doing this.
And also, they also do represent the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, which, you have, Carmella represents sort of greed. Yeah. Charlotte represents wrath.
Yep.
Natalia represents pestilence, and Tamina is the fourth person there.
The fourth person there, which is usually pestilence, really.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Death would probably be... Who would be Death?
I think Tamina could fit Death.
I'm honestly leaning more Carmella, mainly because she puts the crowd to death.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Carmella. We'll go with Carmella.
Carmella's Death. Famine's another one.
Mm-hmm.
War. Famine, War, Conquest.
Conquest is Tamina.
Yes, Conquest is Tamina.
Let's see. I think we go War with Charlotte, and Pestilence will go with Natalia.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And there's your Four Horsewomen.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a very interesting dynamic. Although I do think it will either be Becky or Charlotte that turns, and regardless of who turns, I'm hoping. I mean, the one thing I do agree with the heel turn theory with Becky is that I do want to see her as a heel. because
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of interesting to see Charlotte as a face, because this time she actually has face moves in her arsenal.
Yes, it would be interesting. It's
And I'd
just
also would love it if they could distance herself a little bit, not much, from the Ric Flair gimmick, because that's not her real personality.
the day they make a legacy superstar not their parents is the day Vince McMahon gives this stuff up.
Well, Randy Orton is technically not like his father, so
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, but they've trotted Cowboy out there quite a few times
Mhm,
with Randy, so he's not fully escaping his father's shadow. Not to
mhm.
mention he's constantly touted as a third generation superstar.
Sure. But like we said, Bailey Alexa was a really good match. Apart from some minor issues, but those can be fixed. And what it looks like is either we're going to be getting a rematch or we're going to get Bliss versus Sasha.
Oh Lord, Bliss versus Sasha will be scary for everyone's health.
Yes, they will probably destroy the entirety of the ring. And if you think that these two individuals can't destroy a ring, well, you're underestimating the Pixie Hulk and you're underestimating Sailor Sasha.
Yes, it will be glorious. But unfortunately, after this match, things had to go downhill.
So, for those of you who are interested in a spooky demonic house, there is a wonderful listing somewhere in the hills of Missouri. This house is a one story with attic house with a self-riding tractor from the 1930s, a house that has full of dolls, a fully functional kitchen, does need a little bit of TLC, and other rooms that turn different colors. And the colors of the outside of the house turn blue or red, signifying that the match is either started or is over. Limousine is not included.
Yes. Also included a very nice scythe right on the porch for your convenience.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for those of you who want to do your callings or sacrificing, this property is a perfect place for do your ritualistic sacrifices or demonic summonings of Satan himself.
Yes.
Although Vince is going to be quite grumpy about the fact that you just summoned him to a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere.
Yes. And unfortunately, no matter how many demons you summon, you could not have made this match good.
Yeah, it was basically a traditional street brawl
Yeah.
inside of a haunted house.
Yes. That then for some reason, okay, this match was really weird. Here's what started. The first half of the match was pre-recorded and it took place in this spooky house with spooky dolls and spooky rooms and spooky this and spooky that. That really wasn't very spooky as much as it was freaking hilarious for how much they thought it was spooky, but wasn't.
I mean, they're trying to do this gimmick in April, May, and it's not even Halloween yet.
Yes. The worst part about this whole thing, they took it seriously. This was not something anyone should be taking seriously at all.
I mean, you can take a giant monster truck sumo match seriously, but this.
No. Just no. Like if they should have gotten Matt Hardy to do this.
Mhm.
Or if they did get him to do this, some wires got seriously crossed. Like
Mhm.
it's almost like I could see Matt Hardy being like, "Oh yeah, I should do this," but they forgot the part to make it so over the top camp.
Mhm.
They took
Well,
this
wasn't the
seriously.
creepy dolls over the top camp?
Not really, because the music sting and it would be one thing if they looked more ridiculous. They were just going for regular creepy, spooky looking dolls.
Mhm.
They missed every point going, and it was just boring. And I was just laughing at it because it was that bad.
Mhm. I mean, this is the Bizarro World Street Fight match. First, you have Bray in a white wife beater shirt,
Yeah.
and Randy Orton is wearing pants.
Yes.
What
Oh,
Bizarro world have we landed in?
Payback 2017.
Where there will be many paybacks.
Yes.
Also, many paybacks because they destroyed part of a wall, and I don't think that that was covered in the match itself.
No. Yeah. And what happened was they wrestled around there doing things to each other, beating each other up. Bray put a fridge on Randy and took the limo Randy inexplicably arrived in. Yeah, Randy just decided, I'm going to show up to this creepy-ass house in the middle of nowhere in a limo.
Well, technically, limos have always been associated with the demonic arts in the WWE/WWF for the past 2-3 decades now, so it's kind of understandable that Randy would arrive in Satan's mode of transportation.
Well, sure, if he was the demonic entity, if Bray was doing that, and in fact, Bray stole the limo and went back, that was
Actually,
fine.
he didn't steal it. He actually just requested a ride from it.
Yeah,
he didn't even have to steal it. The limo driver's like,
yeah,
where
fine.
to, buddy?
Yeah, exactly. The limo driver doesn't care. And that's what I love. That's something I do love. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bray put a fridge on Randy, left him there, and went back in the arena.
Yeah.
There was another match in between this. Do we want to talk about that match now or just finish the House of Wars?
Let's talk about that match and then we'll get back to the also fridge pinned Randy Orton.
Yes.
Unfortunately, inanimate objects, unless it is explicitly stated in the match itself, like the legendary stairs match between Big Show and Eric Rowan a few years ago at TLC, the refrigerator did not count as the pinfall.
Of course, it's not a ladder and DDT, Fizzy. Come on now.
Yeah, even though that refrigerator is a fantastic worker and did a phenomenal job of doing a splash on top of Randy Orton.
Of course it did. That fridge knows at least one spot. That fridge should go to DDT and win their Iron Man Heavy Middleweight Championship.
Yeah. I mean, this just reminds me, I actually went to an indie show the day before WrestleMania, Southern Tier Wrestling Gold Rush, and one of the matches was the first ever sanctioned mattress match. It was a handicap match between 3 performers. The mattress won the pinfall. That
mattress is the GOAT.
Yes. It's a local made mattress, too. It's from the Jamestown Mattress Company.
Hooray! You know, I'm all for product placement if it's promoting local business.
Yep.
So that happened. And then from an overly stupid match that took itself too seriously when it should have been campy and fun, we went to a soulless Seth Rollins match.
Because Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins, and unfortunately for Seth Rollins and his fans, they have to endure Seth Rollins being soulless and no selling during a Samoa Joe match.
Yes. I mean, if you thought the last match had enough demonic stuff to make you lose your soul, no, that had more soul than this Seth Rollins match.
The creepy dolls hanging from the ceiling had more soul than Seth Rollins in this match, unfortunately.
Yes.
And I feel bad for Leap Saxon and Lord Von because they are super big fans of Seth Rollins. And just every single time he is given this, because he was given kind of an important match here. This was the third to last match on this show, and it's supposed to be his return, you know, fighting against the guy that injured him, you know?
Yeah. It was supposed to be big. It was supposed to be important. He has no grasp of psychology.
Yeah.
He is, I've seen Curtain Jerker say this. I think it was King Monkey Nuts saying this. He is the ultimate WWE creative superstar. Just do cool moves and they'll cheer me. Not if you don't understand match structure. See, the story with Seth Rollins has been is that his left knee, I want to say, or was his right knee? His left or his right knee, one of the two, is shot. Samoa Joe injured it.
Yep.
It almost cost him his WrestleMania match. He had to get that to be an unsanctioned match. And it's still hurting. He fights Samoa Joe, and he only sells his knee half the time. I saw him throw a super kick with the bad leg. He did not sell it. Then, while running on his leg, he sells it. Like, I can't really run this fast. I'm like, you just kicked a dude in the face with your leg. That's going to jar your knee a bit. Why aren't you selling this? It's just annoying because he only sells half the time. You need to sell more than that. Either that or don't sell it at all.
You know, and like, Rollins is in this situation where he has to play the face in peril, and he's sort of good at playing the face in peril, especially when somebody really lays in the kicks on his ribs. because at this point that they are getting increasingly fed up with, sell, you idiot, sell.
Yes.
But the thing is that Seth goes country farm boy and forgets that, shucks, I forgot to sell again.
Yeah. There was one good moment of selling that lets me know, hey, you actually can do it. When he was in the half crab, or was it the cloverleaf? He was clawing at the ground trying to get to the ropes because holy crap, this is hurting my knee. Like the way he was clawing trying to get to the ropes, that actually showed some pretty good psychology. Like holy crap, this hurts. Get me the hell out of it.
And also the fact that you literally have Samoa Joe sitting on you, so yeah you want to get out of that hole as quickly as possible.
Yeah. And I'm fine with it's like, dude, you can do this. Why don't you do it more often?
And then there was the finish.
That was the weakest, like 50-50-ish booking finish ever in a way that gets no one over.
Yeah. Samoa Joe clearly had his hand up for the free count, and nope.
Nope. Not to mention, he lost because he just let himself get pinned instead of breaking the hold.
Yeah.
Who does this make look good? Seth Rollins? No. This dude couldn't beat Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was just too stupid to let go of the hold.
Although this thankfully gets rid of the pesky undefeated streak for Samoa Joe, which is the one positive we can take away from this match, besides the fact that Seth Rollins is again horrible at selling. And well, thankfully he did slightly redeem himself on Raw, which was he was in a triple threat match with Finn Balor and The Miz.
Oh,
and thank the Lord Miz. Continue,
yes.
Sal.
Oh, Lord, yes. You want to get a good match out of Seth Rollins? Put him against the damn Miz, who will tell his no-selling, no-psychology-knowing ass what to do. He knows what to do. This was a triple threat match for the number one contender for the IC title, because they know that the Universal title means jack all. They know the IC title is the greatest belt. Finn Balor was in that match. Seth Rollins was in that match. The greatest man who ever lived, The Miz, was in that match.
And Austin Aries just spit his iced tea from hearing that words.
Yeah. And Austin Aries can blow me.
Anyway, continue.
Yes. Anyway, The Miz dragged those two to a great match. Well, maybe not Finn, but he dragged Seth to a great match. It was a fun triple threat match. I will admit I didn't see it live, mainly because Raw was really weird, and that the first 2 hours I thought were fine, but they bored me. And I just got so tired, and I was done from like the long weekend. So, but then I caught it on, where did I catch it on? I think I DVR'd it, and I watched it, and it was fun. And Miz did great. Bray Wyatt interfered. Samoa Joe interfered and Bray Wyatt took out Finn Balor. Samoa Joe took out Seth Rollins. So unfortunately, we're getting another Joe Rollins match. Hooray. And we're getting a Finn Bray match. Hooray.
Yay!
But we will be getting a Dean Ambrose Miz match. I would say hooray sarcastically, and I will say that if Dean Ambrose wins. If The Miz wins, I will say hooray and mean it.
Yeah, because the thing is with Dean Ambrose matches is you never know what exactly you're going to get, and Miz and Dean have tangled before. Their matches were okay.
Yeah. Miz does his best to drag Dean to something good. Yeah. I mean, let's remember, when Dean won the belt from The Miz, that's who he actually won the belt from a couple months ago. Dean got cheered pretty good for it because Miz is the greatest heel ever.
Yes, he understands that he is a complete heel. And the great thing is about this act is that it's as I've said before, it is one of the best tandem acts ever.
Yes.
Yes. Miz and Maurice just adds so much to it,
Yes.
I mean, I thought she was going to break Finny McBrogue in two.
She will. She will. And something I love about Miz is there's heels who will run down their opponents and make them look like dirt. Say, I know you're not good. The Miz, we should talk about his promo at Payback. On the pre-show for Payback, Miz cut a promo, had a promo segment with Finn Balor on Miz's talk segment.
Miz TV.
I can't even remember, and I don't know why. I'm so bad. Yes, Miz TV. He put over Finn Balor as a champion everywhere he went. He put over Finn hard. He also said that he thought Finn Balor couldn't handle the pressure and that he thought he was better. That's honestly how you should do it. Because if Miz beats someone who's dirt, what does that matter? Okay, fine, you beat someone who's garbage. Whoop-de-doo. If he puts Finn over as someone who's a threat, then beating him means something. And lo and behold, he beat Finn Balor, and it means something. And I mean, yes, Bray interfered, but who cares? It doesn't matter. As Maurice and Miz told you, it doesn't matter. Don't even give credit to those other two losers. They didn't do anything. Bray and Joe didn't do anything. The Miz did everything. Mm-hmm. And he needs to take the belt off of Dean Ambrose, who was killing the IC title. Like, the more I look at the IC title, the more and more I'm convinced the Miz should just do what Nakamura did for New Japan's IC title. Never take it off of him. Leave it on him, and it will be good.
Or if you're going to take it off the Miz, make sure you put it on somebody who's capable for holding the belt for a couple of months.
Yes. Or just do what New Japan did and take it off him for like 5 days and then just put it straight back on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like the Miz is in a position right now where he can get a good match at Dean Ambrose. Mm-hmm. I'm actually looking forward to Bray versus Finn. And I'm also looking... I think that the second time around, I think Joe versus Rollins will be at least better the second time around than it was the first time.
I can't expect too much. Like, I want to expect more out of Joe. I think Joe's still a pretty good wrestler, although he's way past his prime. Mm. But then again, he's like 40 and he's gone through numerous injuries.
Actually, no, he's actually in his late 30s.
Oh, okay. I'm not holding that against him. He's had numerous injuries. He's in his late 30s. He's almost 40.
Yeah.
I can't hold him. I can't really be mad that he can't go like he did when he was like 25, when he was 28, 29. That'd just be ridiculous, Yeah. So.
But I think he can do well on the promo end of things because he did well on that side of things, and I think that they will structure a better match the next time around because they realize that this didn't really work.
Yeah.
So speaking of the, any final thoughts on this segment?
Yeah, they just need to have Joe sit Seth down and make it and tell him, "Here's how we're going to do it. Don't you dare disagree, or I will hurt you."
Or I will invite you to the family barbecue, and you will meet my relatives.
Yes.
Like Joe will go classic because he was a mortgage broker.
Oh Lord. Yes. But on to the next match.
Which was the second half of the House of Horrors match.
Which went back to the ring. Where we had, 5-8 minutes of nothingness.
And then Jinder Mahal shows up.
And that was the best thing out of this entire House of Horrors match.
Was Jinder Mahal showing up.
Yes. When a Jinder Mahal run-in is the best part of your match, and I will give Jinder this, he's really stepped it up lately and he's become pretty good. But still, when a Jinder Mahal thing is the best part of your match, you have done something terribly, terribly wrong.
But yeah, Jinder Mahal, because of the fact that he does not fear the demonic spirits of Bray Wyatt, nor does he not fear Randy Orton, interferes in the match.
Yeah. And why should he fear either of them?
Yeah. And basically, Randy wins the House of Horrors match, right?
No, Bray won.
Oh, Bray won? Yeah. I can't remember because, God.
It was that forgettable. Yeah, it was that forgettable. I don't blame you for not remembering. The only reason I remember is because Jinder and the Singh brothers interfered, cost Randy the match, and,
Bray actually won a feud.
Yes, hooray. And then Jinder, and still with Randy's belt, left Raw. And then the cold open to SmackDown involved Jinder getting pictures taken of him with the belt, which was amazing. Unfortunately, Shane had to ruin everything and get Jinder to give the belt back. Just give it to him already, Shane. This Randy thing isn't working. Although this Jinder thing isn't working either, since they've lost 800,000 viewers in 3 weeks.
I think that part of the problem is that it is the post-WrestleMania cooldown week, which these number down things happen. because people are spent on wrestling. They're spent on, watching wrestling, so they need something to recover. And also the NBA playoffs is going on at this point.
Yeah, and the NHL playoffs, but they don't really matter to people yet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, thanks for reminding me the NHL playoffs are going on.
yes. Hey, I've been trying to forget it too. Our 25-year streak just got broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this was like, okay, so the House of Horrors match. I liked the first half of the segment. The second half of the segment was in the arena, so I'm like, why are you doing it in the arena?
Yeah. And I thought both of them were pretty stupid, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
Although the first half of it was unintentionally funny a little bit. It would have been a lot better if they didn't take themselves too damn seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And then we had an actual House of Horrors match happen in our main event.
Braun versus Roman. And
on that day, many, many Roman Reigns fans cried screams of, "Oh no!"
Yes, this was a great match. This was an incredibly fun match. This was also a match that only went a little over 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Further proving that you do not need 20-minute long matches to end the show. You do not need 60-minute long matches to end the show. Hello, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada.
And Triple H just freaked out as well.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes. Hey, Triple H, you don't need 30-minute long matches that are boring for 15 of them.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a 12-minute match that is very exciting and good.
Yep.
And that is what these two did. The story going into this match was that Braun had physically injured Roman, but Roman, being a proud man, a man who is not going to take this lying down, he went to that arena. He went in that match injured. He got in that ring. He fought with all he had, but he was always avoiding Braun. He was in desperation mode.
Yep.
He was always avoiding the big hit from Braun because he knew if he had taken the big hit from Braun, he wasn't getting up. So he was always going at him, like, get a few hits on him, get a few hits on him, get a few more, then get out of the way and just avoid it. Get a few hits on him, get a few hits on him, get out of the way and avoid it. Hit the big spear, hit the big thing. But everything he did wasn't enough to keep Braun down. And Braun hit the big move, and Roman lost.
Mm-hmm.
Roman then decided after the match to get some form of payback, hence the title. He took Braun and slammed his arm in an ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of these two showed up on Raw the next night, and according on Raw, it was stated that Braun had suffered a torn rotator cuff.
But with his magical hillbilly magic, he'll be back in a few weeks.
Yes, either that or WWE doesn't know how long it takes to heal a torn rotator cuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those things take like 6 months, guys.
Mm-hmm.
But,
So the story of this match is that Roman Reigns ended The Undertaker to a chorus of boos and a near riot.
Yeah.
After declaring that Raw was indeed his yard, Braun Strowman, powered by the forces of darkness and the hillbilly magic that has been souring him throughout this entire run, disagreed. Also, Roman Reigns was starting to have issues. Not only did he get injured by Braun Strowman, but I also believed in defeating The Undertaker that The Undertaker's curse had hit Roman Reigns. You notice this always happens when someone beats The Undertaker. Bad things start to happen.
Yes.
The dark magics that was held within the dead man's souls ended up getting released when the dead man ended his run. When the dead man put his ring gear right down in the center of the ring, Roman Reigns was doomed. Roman Reigns then had the monstrous energy of the monster among men, Braun Strowman, the inner embodiment of the inner darkness, a servant of his former cult leader, Bray Wyatt, one who is following in his master's vision, but he broke away. He broke away from the flock because he realized that his master had been listening to the voices of Sister Abigail.
And he knew that his master had no clue.
And that his master had absolutely no clue how to control the darkness, how to channel the darkness into its best possible form. Braun went on his own, finding out wisdom from the hillbilly acolytes. And then came back to Raw after his first loss to Roman Reigns, prepared. He decimated an ambulance with Roman Reigns in it. He decimated a ring with Big Show and John Cone in it. He decimated Kalisto and threw him in the dumpster. He decimated everything that stood in his way. General Manager Kurt Angle had no choice but to approve of this match. Otherwise, Braun was going to go on a rampage and destroy everything. With his friend Alexa Bliss, of course.
Yep. Of course.
So, after a prerequisite celebration of Alexa's win of her championship and a tea ceremony, Braun went in, destroyed Roman, and continued to try and destroy Roman, but Roman got some payback by injuring Braun's arm.
Yep. Neither of them showed up on Raw to sell the after effects, which, I mean, fine, you know. I kind of wish Braun had showed up, but whatever. You know, and it was a fun match, you know. Again, only went like 12 minutes, but that's all it needed.
Yeah.
I think after we saw Goldberg, Brock, and then that Drew McIntyre, Oni Lorcan match.
Yeah.
We're getting to a point where I'm now firmly agreeing you don't need 20, 30 minutes.
For every match.
Yes, for every main event match, every big match. You can do shorter matches. A 12-minute match was good. Hell, looking at the card, most of the matches weren't very long. Seth Joe, that was actually only 12 minutes. It was a soulless 12 minutes, but I'm glad it was only 12 and it wasn't 20.
Yep.
Can you imagine that match being 20 minutes?
Well, Seth has done 20-minute matches before. I have seen the horrors firsthand.
Yes. I think the longest two matches were that stupid House of Horrors match that was also including the pre-scripted stuff, so whatever, and Owens and Jericho. Yeah. And Owens and Jericho was still fun because they had two people who knew psychology.
Yeah. They actually worked to build to a finish in that particular match.
And something I love, no match went longer than 20 minutes.
Yep. No match went longer than 20.
They were all shy, which honestly worked. So that was good. The main event was great. And Raw the next night was pretty good.
Yeah. And so was SmackDown. Both brands were really pretty good. I mean, the thing with SmackDown is that they have a new hot tag team act. The Fashion Police.
We need to talk about that now. I was just about to say we need to mention this.
Yeah.
The Fashion Files.
It's basically a parody of Law and Order and Hill Street Blues, but with Fandango and Tyler Breeze as fashion beat cops.
Yes. And it was the greatest thing ever. Oh my Lord, this was amazing. Tyler Breeze and Fandango listing off crimes.
Fashion crimes.
Yes. Assault. You know, disorderly conduct. Oh Lord, that was so great.
Jimmy and jaywalking.
Yes. The picture of Freddie Blassie in their office.
The picture of a big boss man in the corner. All of the highlights of all of the times that the tag titles have changed hands or Breezango have beaten opponents.
Yes. Shinsuke Nakamura, the king of no style.
John Cena listed as missing.
Yes. It was amazing. And that segment was great. And these two, I want to see them as champions. They are so hilarious.
And also they have a connection with the audience, which is surprising. I mean, Fandango has managed to make Tyler Breeze over with an audience.
Yes. Their promo on Talking Smack when they said, clocks, I hate clocks. I hate the concept of time. That was amazing.
Oh man, when the New Day show up on SmackDown, it's gonna be one unpleasant showdown because they did use a time machine to go back in time. So
yes, no wonder they'll have issues. And oh my Lord, that was great. Breezango, they're just so good.
And the Usos are going to be amazing in this feud.
Yes, they will. Cokehead Usos, like they act like they're on coke.
They are the most stereotypically 80s pro wrestling promos ever since they turned heel.
Yes, and they are great.
And all of this chaos is happening while Daniel Bryan is away.
Yes, dealing with other chaos.
The state of Arizona is currently in a national emergency because of Brie mode at this point.
Yes. The national emergency has not gone away yet. I
No.
don't know when it will go away.
Yeah.
But I hope that the people in Arizona who are constantly living with the fear over their heads, it goes away soon.
Of Brie mode.
Yes. Oh, Lord. You saw what they're naming their kid?
Birdie. Yeah, we talked about it last week. They're calling their kid Birdie. And
Birdie
naturally, her
Joe.
child has decided to turn heel and not get born on Earth Day.
Yes, Birdie Joe. Pro tip to parents everywhere. Never give your kid the initials BJ. Kids know, and kids will do things.
Although, technically, because of the fact that, well, it's the Bella twins we're talking about, I don't necessarily think that they're going to harass Birdie.
Yeah. I'd hope they wouldn't. Kids don't care. Kids gave Kevin Owens' son crap. Are they idiots? You don't give Owen Owens crap.
But Kevin Owens is nothing compared to the Queen of Strong Style, and of course Brie Sable Jr., who's
So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Also, we talked about the 3 women stuff. Jinder was still awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like the rented limo segment, now posing and taking pictures of the title belt that he hasn't won yet.
Yeah, he's doing great stuff. It's just a shame that he wasn't built more naturally, because I think it would have been a lot better. I was talking to Sandow Superior, who's actually from India, and he said, I really don't see this working because it wasn't built naturally. Like, we see right through this. We really don't care, We like I asked him who are some guys who are really big over in India, and he's like, guys like Roman Reigns, John Cena, Big Show. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, guys they push as a big deal. That's who we like. And I'm like, all right, so.
Yeah. Roman Reigns is over in India. Rejoice!
Yes, he's over in a country with like 1.2 billion people. Or,
I'm
no,
sure
1
that's
billion.
going to drown out all the haters that hate their lives.
Yes, of course. You've got like 1/7 of the world's population who loves you. So there you go.
Yeah, see, Roman Reigns fans, not all's bad. India likes your guy.
Yeah, you guys are good. So,
I mean, as a fan of Roman Reigns, and I am liking Braun's segments. I like his matches. I can understand the criticism that Kane is doing with when it comes to Braun and your fave, The Miz, unfortunately.
Yeah. What's going to happen to Miz?
But, like, the Braun Rampage, I'm not sure where this continues. I mean, it's obvious that they're pointing Braun in the direction of the Universal title, and, oh, Lord, a rematch between those two.
Yeah. I'm not sure, though. I mean, it does kind of seem like they're going to do Braun Roman at Extreme Rules, and I don't know who. I don't see WWE not giving Roman his win back, which I don't know if that's the right call or not.
I'm not sure. I mean, it all depends on how Roman is, and if Roman wants an opportunity at the Universal Championship, and if Roman wins the shiny thing, the beef jerky belt, if Brock hasn't eaten the thing yet.
Or if he has, they'll just make a new one, but,
Yeah. But, like, I'm excited for the prospects of Roman Reigns Universal Champion because, in all honesty, I do think at some point they are going to be positioning Roman for a heel turn.
I hope they will. I don't think they will. I just don't trust this company.
Well, look at their next couple of opponents if Roman Reigns does win the belt from Brock Lesnar. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins. Yeah. As well as possibly maybe The Miz in a mid feud. But who knows who else will get a shot at that Universal Championship. But the door's wide open.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I hope they do something good. That's all I want. It's going to get really toxic if he's given the Universal title. I mean, not that it isn't already toxic, but good Lord.
Yes, people really, 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 really hate Roman Reigns for whatever reason.
Yeah. I don't really get much of the hate myself. All I know is that, they're not happy with him for whatever reason.
Why haven't you not directed that anger towards, say, a guy that had a soulless 12-minute long match over the guy who actually had a really fun 12-minute long match?
I don't know. Maybe it's because Seth came from the Indies. I don't know.
They see Seth in themselves. They don't see Roman in themselves. They see Roman as that guy that, oh, that's the guy all my girlfriend loves.
I think some of it is the fact that they see it as the guy Vince picked, and
Well,
they
they
don't.
also hate him because he's pretty.
Of course, he's not an everyman. I don't really get that. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's just such a toxic relationship that
Yeah.
the past 2 weeks haven't been too bad, mainly because Roman wasn't on Raw.
Hmm.
And it was like the toxicity kind of got a break, a reprieve.
Hmm.
Lord knows if it gets toxic, I'm going to be skipping Raw again.
Hmm.
I am not putting up with that toxic BS, and I don't blame anyone for it. You want to be mad, go ahead, be mad,
Hmm.
but I ain't going to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that both of us are in the position right now where we're both enjoying Raw, and we're both enjoying with Roman Reigns segments and without Roman Reigns segments. And again, guys, it's just one person. It's just one person in one or two segments on the show. Okay? There is a fast forward button, there is a mute button.
Yeah. I do think the issue is, though, they bring him up all the time on Raw, and Vidance has pointed this out, people saying if you don't like Roman, just don't watch.
Hmm.
It's kind of hard not to do that, since for a lot of people, WWE is the only promotion really that's mainstream accessible.
Yeah.
That might be the only promotion they can really get a hold of, because others are cost prohibitive. I mean,
Hmm.
indie wrestling has gotten a lot cheaper, but a lot of people still don't want to spend money on it yet.
Hmm.
Like, if all you can do is watch free TV, WWE is really your only bet.
Hmm.
I can't give people crap for that. I won't give people crap for that. And people saying, "Oh, you don't like it, just don't watch." I mean, that's kind of being an elitist dick.
Hmm.
You know?
I mean, you're basically the dude bro in the 5-year-old Bullet Club T-shirts that's saying that, oh well, don't if you don't like it, don't watch. Go watch Kenny Omega be cool. Like, when has
Yeah.
Kenny Omega ever been cool except during his time in DDT?
Seriously.
When he was in the comedy promotion, he was good. When he wasn't in the comedy promotion, then
Yeah, exactly. Or go watch like go watch Evolve or something. It's like, yeah, Evolve's pretty kick ass, but it's not for everybody.
neither is progress.
Yeah. I know a lot of people who love Progress. I've been meaning to get into Progress. Money's been an issue there. I mean, again, that's the thing with money. Like, I'm a little more hardcore than most casuals. I can't afford all these streaming services. I'd love to be able to afford all these streaming services. I'm a
Mhm.
poor college student. I can't afford this.
Yes, you know. And the thing is that I understand why they're charging these prices for it. I understand that you need to make your money, but at the same time, WWE has offered the cheapest alternative to watching wrestling programs with the WWE Network. And
Yeah.
while independent wrestling services and streams are out there, and the wrestling shows and some wrestling independent shows do stream their shows for free on YouTube,
Yep.
but at the same time, you have a situation where you've got promotions like Evolve, you've got promotions like Progress who have their shows. Although, admittedly, Chapter 13 for Progress is actually available for free on their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Just pointing
And
that
yeah,
out there.
yeah. And Progress and Evolve, I won't say they're outrageously expensive. I mean, they're fairly priced. I mean, they're like $20 each per
Yeah.
month.
Hmm.
I'm not going to give them crap and say, "Oh, they're like $50 a month. This is
Well,
outrageous."
yeah.
No, they're
Technically, Progress is actually $9.99.
okay.
So it's basically the same price as the network. But at
Yeah.
the same time, people are trying to invest their money wisely because, again, we're kind of sort of been in a recession for almost a
Yeah.
decade now, and people need to be cautious with their spending money, especially to a foreign promotion from the United Kingdom.
Yeah. For people worried about, or currency manipulation.
Yeah.
Whether that fear is real or not, I won't get into that.
Hmm.
But whatever the case that may be, it's also an issue with, finances. WWE, they're the one that tours the most here in the States. So if you do manage to save a little bit of money, that's probably going to be who you're going to go see. So you're going to follow that closer.
Unless you
Yes.
find yourself at a local independent promotion, in which case, that is considerably cheaper than going to a WWE show.
Yeah, Exactly. And not everyone has that. So I
Yeah.
think people who are giving people who still watch Raw despite that, they're going to be people they like on Raw who they want to see. The only issue is that Roman's is like mentioned at least 5 times a show.
And
I'd say
did people have problems with this when Rock was mentioned, or Stone Cold Steve Austin was mentioned, or Shawn Michaels was mentioned every other broadcast on squash matches in the 90s throughout the 2000s?
I'm sure there were some people, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure they eventually got to the point where they went to WCW. There really isn't a clear number 2 for people to go to now. And I'm waiting, and I know Velvet Bulldozer will say TNA, but come on, man, TNA, they are a dumpster fire.
TNA, the Donner Party of professional wrestling. And this is coming from a guy who is actually a fan of that promotion.
Yes. They survived.
I know what to expect of this promotion, as I said last week.
Yes. They survived despite everything they do.
Mm-hmm.
They survived despite every failure they've ever made. They should have died 4 times over now. I'm not even exaggerating that. This is a promotion. They should have gone bankrupt at least 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
They are incredible in self-survival.
Yes, as any company from this place would be.
Yeah. Like, I have no idea how they're surviving.
Off of 5-year-old granola bars and demonically possessed coffee.
Probably, yeah. They must have a lot of goats to sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's Florida. You get goats for pretty cheap.
Yeah, and Tennessee, too. That's where some
and Tennessee as well.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't have any goats there, I'm sure they could find a couple cows.
Mm-hmm. Trade some of that sweet TNA merchandise for some goats and cows.
Oh, Lord, I think the people taking that TNA merchandise would feel ripped off.
Oh, my God. Imagine Don West going, I have this great brown bag special for you. All I need is a couple of goats and some cows.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
For those of you who don't know, Don West does these awesome commercials selling TNA in these brown bag and blue bag specials.
Yes. It is amazing.
And he is a really great salesman, in that regard, trying to unload this merchandise that is some of it is over 5+ years old.
Yeah. And TNA, oh, Lord, did you see that they didn't pay their lawyers when they were getting sued for not paying their merchandise?
Dixie didn't pay her lawyers, so whoops.
Yeah. No, here's what happened. They were getting sued by a former merchandise vendor for not paying them.
Mm-hmm.
They then didn't pay their lawyers.
Whoops.
Yeah. I mean, how?
Mm-hmm. At the same time, Dixie's also failed to pay her lawyers, so she's also going for a suit with a credit card bureau from, I think, Tennessee or North Carolina. Also, the state of Tennessee is also suing the company.
Yes. This company is surviving all of this somehow.
And admittedly, to note this, most of the suits are actually going in the direction of Dixie. They are not suing Anaheim at this point yet.
Yeah, no. This whole thing is just amazing.
Yes, Anaheim managed to somehow get away with the TNA brand and leave Dixie with the legal fees.
Yes, of course. Why not leave it to the daughter of a billionaire?
Mm-hmm. So what are your final thoughts on Payback as a whole?
Payback was good, except for the 2 matches that I knew wouldn't be good, and I was completely right. Mm-hmm. Every other match I had it at least 3 stars. That Seth Joe match that was just soulless, I had it at like 2.25. It wasn't even technically bad, it was just boring.
Mm-hmm.
And the House of Horrors match, I had at -3. It was just bad. So bad.
My experience with Payback was very enjoyable. I had low expectations going into this because, as I've said before, I have low expectations when it comes into WWE pay-per-views or professional wrestling in general. And I had fun. I enjoyed the wacky House of Horrors match and all of its creepy dolls and refrigerator pinning glory. I enjoyed the majority of the matches on this show, besides the fact that Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe dragged on 12 more minutes than it needed to.
Yes.
And Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman was an amazing destructive match of destructive forces.
Yes. If you're ever into wrestling and you don't have a network, sign up for a free month and watch that match. It was fun.
Yep. Payback was a fun show. It's one that I'm looking forward to seeing again and also recapping because this Sunday, folks, we are going to be or at least I'm going to be doing Cage Side Speaks with a fresh crew of people because Sal will be away because he's got work.
Yep. Sorry, guys.
And we will be talking about WWE Payback on that show as well. And we'll be getting the fresh opinions of the minds of people who are really, really like, WWE programming or don't like WWE programming, including somebody who actually attended WWE Payback. Won't spoil who it is, but it's going to be really fun.
Yep.
So that about does it for episode 9 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. As we said in the intro of the show, thank you so much for tuning in for the second week of this revival of this podcast. We hope you tune in once again because next week is going to be fun.
Yes, it will. We're going to give you the best prepper on sumo you can ever get from 2 amateur fans.
Yep, it's sumo time as we talk about next week the Natsu Basho, a preview of it. The Bansuke was released on May 1st, and we will tell you everything that you could ever want to hear about the world of professional sumo wrestling. Stay tuned for that, folks. And for that, until then, this is William Fitzpatrick. You can follow me on Twitter at Fitzpatrick14 for updates on when the show is going to come out. At this point in time, our shows will be coming out on Friday afternoons, usually between 2 and 3 p.m. after I'm done with the editing. And along with my co-host, Sal Cusimano, who also has a Twitter at, what was it, Sal Cusimano?
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull this up. At Kuzmano_Sal, all lowercase.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He updates his Twitter less frequently than I do, but again, for updates and for, when shows are going to be released and coming out, you can follow the two of us on Twitter. Until then, see you folks next Friday for the Natsu Basho preview. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. Have a lovely day or night whenever you're watching this podcast, and we'll see you for the next edition of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. Bye, folks.
See ya.